when you're in Texas, especially when we're around like lawyers and things like that, just we literally put out like a directive beforehand. Hey, read this before you go to Texas. Read this before you get off. Read this before you get off the plane or something. It's like, just so you know, don't do these things.
Right.
People get really upset about it, and we're only going to be we're a guest in their town, and
that's very conscientious. I like that.
And you just kind of go through it.
That, why does that remind me? Well, I know why. It reminds me of situations in which diplomats between Japan and the United States. I remember learning things from Sheila, actually, where she goes, oh yeah, you don't do this, you don't do that. And it was all very fascinating to me. And it's like a cultural thing that makes no sense to us. And you can see coming from the States, going to Japan, such an old nation with a lot of history and really a separate type of culture, not just a different culture. That is fascinating to see. Like, oh yeah, I guess that makes sense. Yeah. Never thought I'd hear it about somebody in the States, though.
Yeah,
but it's absolutely true.
So, hey everybody.
Yay.
My name is Jerry Williams, aka Greater Sapien. Thanks for stopping by. This is the Greater Apes podcast. I am here with my partner Jesse Bino Vale. And what we're talking about is the fact that the last 2 weeks, and by the way, and nice to be back.
Yes.
Sorry about that. I've been the weight's mostly been on me. I've been traveling the last 2 weeks for work. I was in Marshall, Texas for 2 weeks. This is like the third weekend I just got back, and it's completely just wall-to-wall work and not able to even. I think we had one conversation. I think we had one full conversation over the last couple of weeks. But I was in Marshall, Texas for a court case that I'm doing evidence presentation for, and I was telling him that one of the interesting things about being there is that we put out a directive to everyone that's on the team that when you're in Texas, especially in a small town like Texas, and like Marshall, people are really proud of Texas. They're really proud of their town. They're really proud of their state. And we're Californians and people from New York, and we're used to just like talking freely and things like that. But when we're anywhere near that, where any of the public can be, it's like, don't ever say anything that disparages the town or disparages the state. Just don't do it. People are really proud, and it's something we were just joking about. We can be here in the Bay Area, and someone can be at a restaurant going, it's like, oh man, this place is a dump, and we'll just go like, yep, don't you love it?
It's fucking awesome, ain't it?
We love our town, but we're just like we're just fine with it. But in places like Marshall, it's like, you never know if you're talking to somebody or someone overhears that's been there their entire life, or they're just another tourist just breezing through. And so you just don't say anything that's just like negative toward the state or for the town, even though we were in a hotel that lost power once on its own. The whole town lost.
The word podunk is on your lips.
the town, different locations in the town lost power twice. And then the entire town, the 3 surrounding towns, lost power for about 6 hours for for the whole region. No major storm, no nothing. It's just like just no infrastructure, And so we're sitting there going, God, what kind of hotel? What kind of backwoods? Blah 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 blah. It's like, yeah, you say that when you're in your room, but you don't, because it's just, you never know who's going to be part of the jury. You never know if there's going to be another judge anywhere near you or anything like that. You don't say anything. And also just people. The people in the town are really proud. And people in the state are really proud of their state. You don't say anything. And even though I have coworkers that live in Texas, and I have said things just to mess with them, and you can tell they know I'm messing with them, but I can also tell
they still go, they still burn a little bit.
It's like, like a coworker of mine, we're on a Zoom, and he's like, he's walking around in his yard or whatever, and he's like, I'm like, what's going on? He says, I'm trying to find a place that doesn't look so crappy, and I'm like, move out of Texas. And he's just like, I dare you to come here and say that. I'm like, I will come there and say that. but he was just like,
yeah. Like, well, it's funny because,
but we're in Oakland. Come on, we are fully aware of the reputation, both earned and unearned, that this town has.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I have a patch that I've yet to sew on anything. That is a sentiment that we have. Make Oakland scary again. It was so funny to us that we would walk around this town. Yes, of course, it's just like any other city, everybody. There are places that are more crime-ridden. There are places that are poor. There are places that are richer. There are restaurant districts. There are theater districts. It's a city, everybody. But everyone, it was so fun. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Oh, where do you live? Oakland. And they go, oh, how could you live in Oakland? What do you mean, how could I live in Oakland? Have you been here? No. Oh, no, I'm afraid to go into Oakland. So yeah, so you have no idea that it's like a parkland.
Right.
It's like a parkland.
Yeah.
It's Oakland, for the love of God.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's and the architecture and everything. It's just like so we liked it. We liked it when people were like, I don't want to go to Oakland. We didn't
stay out.
Well, you don't know any better. We were just like, good.
Stay out.
Good, stay out.
Fine.
Now they're coming in.
Yeah,
it's when coming in and screwing with our neighborhoods, and it's just like messing up all the chemistry, and it's just like, come on, make Oakland scary again. Keep people out.
At the same time, we're perfectly aware of the negative, and we're just like, come on, people, get your shit together. Come on. I mean, you more so than me right now, because you live in a much more demonstrably it's like active neighborhood than I do. Mm-hmm. It's like, hey, look at the stereotypes going on here. Who lives in the worst neighborhood?
Yeah. I mean, to the point, folks. Now I've lived in some neighborhoods that were active. And if you saw my neighborhood, like friends of mine came over yesterday to drop off something. And they were like, wow, this is really awesome. Yeah, we tried to find a house here, but there's just no way. And if you drove my streets, you would see houses. Like across the street from me is a mansion.
You live in a really nice looking neighborhood.
Yeah, in terms of, but it is not safe.
In terms of like the topography, the way the street is built, the way the houses set on them, and the types and the variety of homes that you have there, it's really nice.
I live next to a college campus, so it's quieter. I have the clock tower.
Yeah,
is literally a few hundred yards from my house, maybe 200 yards from my house, and I hear it all the time, and it's lovely. But I walked to the store yesterday. And I was vigilant. I was.
And I'm laughing because you have to understand, folks, how much weight the word vigilant held up there. The word vigilant there meant a lot. I know people are like, oh, you're vigilant. It's like, no, you understand. He was vigilant. It's like Walking Dead vigilant, like you. Yes. Okay, it's not just like really. I made sure there was enough social distancing. No. You're checking your 6. You're like looking at.
I'm hearing things, dude. I'm listening behind me.
He's strafing around corners.
Yeah, and my roommate. We forgot something. She walked later, and I was just all and then of course I'm like, okay, come on. I said to her, you have power. Yes, we don't live in the best or the safest neighborhood, because I think it is one of the best neighborhoods. I gotta be honest. But don't worry, I'm not going to put that on you that you can't leave your house because you're not safe. And
you also don't want the hey, I hate to say it, you don't want her, going off in fear.
Right.
And experiencing fear the entire way and giving off the vibe of fear.
Yeah, exactly. So we tried to reverse that. We talked about it. I said, look.
Because they can smell the fear.
Right. Because there's only a few things. It was something that I learned from a cop in my other neighborhood, my other active neighborhood, where we had a number of break-ins in this apartment that I was managing. And the front windows, there was no way to put grates over them. They were way too big. And I'm like, what do I do? And he goes, you just got to make it look inconvenient, man. So I grabbed these 1x2s, the windows slid in from either side, popped down a 1x2, took some red gaff tape and taped them so they could see the giant red bar between the windows. Because yes, they could have worked their way in. There are ways to undo windows when that happens, but it's too hard.
Right.
Right. So that's really what people have to
They've got a couple minutes. Do they want to spend it doing that?
Right. So it's a similar thing when, when I'm walking down the street in Oakland, like it's not what people think, oh, there's going to be a drive-by and they're going to shoot you. Nobody is interested in shooting a white guy in the street. They're not. Because that's big trouble. Right? I hate to say it, but that's big trouble. That makes things move. And I hate it. You know how much I hate it. But it's different than if a black guy got shot on the street, because then people are like, well, there must have been some sort of war or who knows. But so I can walk on my streets and feel safe is what I'm saying.
Yeah. But I am more likely to get challenged just because of the fact is someone doing something to me might give them some type of achievement. Yeah. It's like, oh, I took out that big dude.
Right.
Check that out. I took him on.
So
there's something to prove with me.
So there is another thing, and like I said, we had a full discussion before she even left that she's empowered. She's actually not in danger, truly. Right. Yes, of course, I'm in danger here right now, but it's not like you go outside and you're risking your life. That's not what she's doing. So we got that off the table. And then, we're just hanging around the house. She's got jeans and a sweatshirt with a thing. She's got a hat on and her glasses, and she's walking down there. She got catcalled. Beep, beep. Hey, girl. It's just so funny.
Yeah.
But it's cultural.
Yeah. Yeah.
And not cultural in the way of making an excuse for something. That's not what I'm saying. So right. But no, it's just a cultural thing too.
But it wasn't wasn't the type of fear that you were concerned with,
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope. And she thought it was funny. Because in context it was. That sometimes that can be very frightening for people.
Yes.
And I'm not discounting that.
Yes. But yeah, love our town.
But she laughed because she's like, I'm in a puffy sweatshirt. What are you talking about? You don't even know if I'm female. How did you even figure that out?
I got my ways. I could tell.
I can smell pheromones. Why are we making him that guy? Because he's not. Because here's the funny thing. In Oakland, when we put on that accent, that's not actually a black guy sometimes.
No, it's a type of guy, but it's not necessarily
a type of guy.
Yeah.
But it's yeah. Because some way that's how I talk sometimes. I can code switch a little bit.
So
oh my God, we have not even gotten close. What are we doing, man?
No, but hey, look. We haven't talked to our few fans here in a while. What have we been doing? What's our life like? This is part of it, and this is part of our conversation. And that's honestly, going from Marshall, Texas to coming back home to Oakland has been a big part of what's happened in the last couple of weeks. And so in context, I think that was a good exchange. We're going to leave it in.
That's a good catch up. Here's something funny. Hey folks, foreshadowing.
Man, it's going to be 2 days before they get that joke.
You'll get it. I couldn't resist.
That's some. My mind is being blown. That's Inception. You did there. So
the level of water that I have.
So, in the time since our last podcast, there have been, I believe, the last three episodes of Falcon and Winter Soldier. We left off after episode 3. Going into episode 4, we were of the mind that things were going to start to go down. It was before he had Walker had taken the super soldier serum. He took that in 4.
Right.
Because
at the end of 4 is when he,
yeah,
I think, decapitated. I mean, that was pretty.
It's probably, yeah. So when we left 3, we were both thinking, okay, given how story structures work, this is when something's going to happen. He's going to do something, and we were pretty close. I was amazed how close we were. The nuances here and there, but we were of the mind that Walker's going to do something. He's going to cross the line, and he's going to do it in public. And the Falcon would be there. We were kind of the mind that he would then, maybe the Falcon would be the solution to whatever happened, and thus he would kind of get, anointed more kind of heroic status because of it. But it didn't quite work out quite that way. But it's still structurally, Falcon had a plan that Walker did not agree with, and did not allow Falcon to execute the plan to the way he wanted to. Which was working. And honestly, I really like the fact that they're going back to the first thing we learned about the Falcon, about Sam, was that he was a grief counselor. He was helping people with their stress, with their post-traumatic stress, and he was good at talking to people and understanding them and helping them work through stuff. And that's not something that was in the first Winter Soldier. Was it Winter Soldier? Yeah. Captain America Winter Soldier movie. But it wasn't really touched on anywhere else. There was a kind of a callback to it in Endgame, as Captain America was doing that same thing. Which was like, oh yeah, he's kind of, picking up where Sam left off since Sam had disappeared. So there was that, but it wasn't really touched on anymore. And so the fact that that's a skill set that they brought back up, that he's not just a military guy that does, it's a hot shot pilot type of dude.
I did enjoy that too. I did enjoy that too.
And it also, it brings up that aspect of Captain America, not just Steve Rogers, but it's like, it's not all about the war. It's not all about the fight.
All about the war. Right.
And so, Captain America, classic Steve Rogers, was, especially in comics, was known to just talk people down. He would always try to talk people down, or there'd be a rousing speech or what, there was always that ability.
He was inspirational.
Yeah. There was always
that element of America that people would describe as inspirational.
Yeah.
Right. Like, we can do this. There can be freedom writ large. There can be.
Yeah. Right? I mean, they even touched on it in Endgame, where he did that kind of speech as they were all about to go into the quantum realm, whatever. And he did the whole thing, got everybody growing, and Ant-Man's like, he's really good at that, isn't he? It's like, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, he's good. And so they brought that, because he doesn't have the level of physical skill. He's not a super soldier that Steve Rogers had, but he does know people on an essential level, maybe even more so than Steve did.
Yeah. I agree with that, because and that a lot of it comes from him being a modern person as well. Right. So Cap had a handicap. Oh!
Right. Well, and also, like, just look in terms of what they're both being soldiers and what they went through. But Cap was a soldier, kind of thrown into it. He wasn't originally supposed to be a soldier, and then kind of went through the wars, and then was taken out of it and then thrown back into the world. But he didn't have to really deal with the ramifications that everyone went through in that. While Sam was like, he did his tours, came back, and still dealt with people who had gone through that and met with them and talked to them and experienced. While, Cap did the war part, but didn't do the post-war part. Steve Rogers did the war part, but didn't do the peace part. He went from like the war to modern time, still fighting stuff.
Still fighting people. Yeah.
While Sam had to do the gambit. He came up through life and went into the wars, battles, and then dealt with the ramifications of that. So he's more of a well-rounded soldier in terms of the the war experience than
Mhm.
Cap was.
And actually, I mean, you could say a more the distinction you just made can be made between soldiers of an older era and soldiers now.
Yes.
That actually can, because the reason we know the phrase PTSD or the
Right.
acronym PTSD is because soldiers themselves have started to advocate.
Right.
So yeah, that's a really
right. And also yes, you can look into it as looking at the difference between, say, what like white soldiers dealt with versus what black soldiers dealt with back in the day. It's like, okay, you went off to war and you came back to a society that loved you and gave you,
a house,
benefits
and a car,
because of it and all this kind of stuff. And homes and but you're a black soldier, you came back and you still were, you still had, this stigma on you. It's a totally different experience that they had to deal with.
Yeah.
And so I think they did a good job of using, not to diminish, they did nothing to diminish Steve Rogers in any way during this whole thing, which I think was good. It's not like there was something wrong with the way Steve Rogers' background was. No, his was completely valid, and the way he dealt with things was completely valid. But it was summed up, I think, well, and I can't remember which episode it was. Might have been 5 when Sam was. It might have been 6. Sam was saying, "It's like it doesn't matter what Steve would do. It's like we keep holding everything to the standard of what Steve would think and what Steve's idea about it. It doesn't matter. What matters is what you think.
Yeah,
that's what matters. Yeah. But that's not diminishing memory of Steve Rogers at all."
So I can't believe we have to go through 3.
I think we just talked about the whole thing.
Just because I'm already, my brain's trying to jump forward in time, and it might have jumped too far forward.
No, I say just talk about.
I might only have overreaching things. Like, I thought it was a good series, but I don't. And I think it was very well written in many ways that you could hear me saying in previous videos, and I still think the same thing. I think there were a few mistakes.
They still had
I mentioned some of those.
They still had an issue with time.
Yeah.
In terms of like flow of like how much time happened between things. Yeah. There were too many things that I think we had to just assume in terms of time passing in order for it to work. And I think that was, I don't know if that was the nature of the post-COVID edit, because they had to do a lot of editing given the fact that they had to change their filming schedule. Rumor was,
and I think they were disappointed in one of these outcomes, because I think that Agent 13, that Agent 13's reveal as the power broker should have been a reveal, and it wasn't.
No,
I think they're disappointed that had to be pushed forward so much.
Right.
I think that their introduction of Madam Hydra wasn't as impactful as they hoped it would be.
Right.
Because to me, I was more excited about Julia Louis-Dreyfus acting as an evil character.
Right.
That was funny.
Or a morally ambiguous character. Yes.
Morally ambiguous character. Right. Because some of those fell flat, and I think that was part of it, because they had to change schedules and and I'll be upfront with it. The one reveal that I think fell flat the most tragically was the reveal of the new suit. Yeah,
I don't think it was given. It wasn't given its time to sit with people. It's just like, oh, there he is in the suit and he's doing stuff. It was just like, so that's part of the thing I mean about time. There's some things that weren't given the time that they needed, that they deserved, and other things that then there's the time of like, there was also not quite understanding of how much time passed between things, which gave a sense of rushness. It's like, well, has it been weeks or has it been days? I can't really tell. It's weeks or days. I'm assuming it's been weeks because this is happening. Yeah.
Right.
So there was a little bit of that.
I mean, I was really excited about the suit.
Right. I can't believe
that was one of the only conversations that you and I had about
comic accurate suit.
Yeah. Yeah. and
which looks
that,
really
you
weird
know,
from behind. The back of the head looks really weird.
yeah, it does.
You know, and that's one thing. Whenever I was drawing something, I always hated drawing that a naked back of the head like that because it just looks really weird. Just the way the skin is. Yeah, it's just funny. That's
So
you don't show people from the back like that.
Yeah, I loved the costume, but I agree with you. It should have had more, an opportunity to have more time. But with the time they were given, just in terms of, now we're not talking about writing. Now we're just talking about fight choreography and CGI. They did a lot of cool shit with those wings.
Oh yeah, they did a lot in a short period of time. Short period of time. I mean, they still different. There's still a couple questions. I'm assuming they're made out of vibranium, but they didn't say.
No,
but they got to be some vibranium alloy.
And they act as though they're connected to his spinal cord. I mean,
well, they're in a thing. Yeah.
But I mean, because they. And this is the thing. So Sam is not a super soldier.
Yeah.
Sam is not a super soldier. So you got to give him tech like Batman to make it more believable that he could withstand this, that, or the other.
Yeah.
But those wings moved like Archangel moves his wings.
Yes, they did. They're super subtle.
Individually.
Yeah. So they're unlike, so it's not so much like they were connected to his spine, but they were connected to his nervous system in terms of like his brain.
Something, yeah.
Right. Like you can picture him going, hello, just with his brain, just kind of like using him as like prehensile tails, like a prehensile wings, like they're part of him. Not that they're actually fused to him in any way. So yes, there's that. There's definitely that aspect to them.
But that's been established in this universe. That's been established in this universe that there are smart suits.
Yes. Well, and that's all. It's Wakandan tech too.
So it's a better smart suit.
It's a better smart suit.
Yeah.
They can. It can be locked in such a way that if you use the thought that you would use if you want, like when you have a phantom arm and you use those twitchy muscles, then the robot arm kind of has learned to figure out to use a thing. So I'm sure they could come up with something like that. But there's still some questions. How much damage can that suit take? Is it to a certain level like the Black Panther suit in terms of it's got enough vibranium in it to keep him from getting hit, from dying from straight bullets? Is there any strength enhancement in it? Is there any rigidity to it? Because I'm sorry, yes, you have a jetpack on, and that jetpack is strong enough to push the end of that truck back up on there. I get that, but your shoulder sockets are not.
But to me, I get that, because that one I saw too.
Yeah.
But I do think it's the nanotech. It's the Stark nanotech, and we also know that the Wakandans have built it.
Right.
So there's something in my mind that said, well, there's something there.
Right. But the thing is, you had to have something in your mind say, well, there's something there, as opposed to them giving it a little bit more time, or even having a little bit of special effect to show that there was like a
montage of him trying it. That would have been perfect. We love seeing stuff like that.
When he's lifting the thing up, when he's doing the lift thing here, if you then see some little lights kind of going over the top of it, saying, oh, there's an enhancement thing going on.
Right.
Not so much to make him super strong, but maybe enough to keep, because let's admit there's a lot of stresses that happen with wings. So the suit has to have a certain amount of substance to it to deal with the fact that you're going to be doing all these G forces and all that kind of stuff.
Well, we know it can handle an explosion.
Yes. Yeah.
So we got that.
I mean, I liked there
were way too many openings between those wings, though, for my comfort. I mean, ambient heat can kill you too.
Yeah. But I did like the kind of prehensile nature to it, like him kind of covering himself up with the shield on top and having that bounce off, so quickly, like it was very much responding to his brain on that there. Them sticking into the ground too and give him traction when being pushed by the super soldier.
That too. I really appreciated that. That made so much sense. That was a visual that made sense for what was happening. You saw that the wings could act as a base.
I'm a physics nerd.
Yep.
It's like I'm of the mind. It's like it doesn't matter how strong you are. If you if you lift something that weighs 5 times your mass,
Mhm.
and you start to lift it up, and the center of gravity is over there, you got to figure out a way of bracing yourself. You got to figure out a way of changing that fulcrum, or you're going to pull, and you're going to pull, and you're going to go toward it.
They
right?
did that in this too, because and I would refer to this. I don't know how to creatively say it, but you know, the Steve Austin conundrum,
Uh-huh.
$6 million man
$6 million man.
conundrum, right? Yeah, he had a strong arm and strong legs, but he did not have a stronger spine.
A stronger spine, right?
He just didn't. Nor was his brain protected from high falls and jarring things like that, right? So they have that issue with Bucky, and they don't know what to do with it, right? Because
they at least have a certain amount of super soldier in him. He does, other than just having the arm, he's got super soldierness. So they give him a little bit of that. They give him a little bit of that,
but there is another. But you know what I mean? That one occurs to me, and I know there's nothing you can do about it. It's not like I'm criticizing them. I'm saying that this is an issue when you take something from a comic book and you put it into a real world scenario. It sometimes it starts to not make sense.
Right.
That's all. Yeah. But I overall,
there's a circumstance that reminds me of, I think, because we saw it relatively recently, was Batman v Superman. It was Batman v Superman. There was this point where he was just Batman was whooping Superman's ass, and he latched him with his batarang or whatever and was dragging him, and then swung him around, and they just had him yank, the retracting thing happened on the cable, so Superman came flying toward him, and he just threw Superman off to the side, and it's like, and he stayed there like it was just like a center of thing, and there was no
like he had a pivot point,
right, and there was no like counterweight happening. When you do something, you see it all the time when somebody's super strong and they pick up this thing, and you're like, but all the center of mass is way over there. So all coming back to, I like the fact that they added a level of real kind of required physics compensation for the Falcon when it came to that situation. It's like, yes, that person's really strong. So if you both have the same amount of like traction on the ground and you're pushing at each other, you're just, one's just going to push you away. You can't just do it. You got to have some way. Like, it's like when you take off when you go barefoot in a tug of war, so you have better traction against the people who have socks. It's that kind of thing. So I did like that aspect of the suit. And they got Red Wing back, who seems to also be a little bit more. He's got a nice AI going on that communication, which is good because it harkens back a little bit to the Falcon's original power in the comics, which he actually had a psychic attachment to the freaking bird. They could actually communicate. So now he has more of that kind of attachment.
Yeah, like a bionic.
Yeah.
Now back to the writing. I mean, I was worried this was going to happen when I found out how many episodes there was going to be. There's just no way to not rush things, because the Power Broker fell absolutely flat for me.
Yes.
There was nothing. She was let go. She was accommodated. She was given awards.
She was given a commendation. Yes,
a commendation. Thank you.
But that's
and that is a good setup if you are then going to use them in this new capacity. And so my assumption is they're setting, because they just don't set up things to just not set up things. So it's obvious that she's going to be moving forward somewhere in this, and that this new construct of personality traits and features will play out then, but that's not satisfying to me in a series.
Yeah, no, it's not. It might have been a better reveal if they didn't reveal it at all until her last phone conversation. Like if they had just kept it like it's like no one said she was a power broker. I mean, we knew she would. I mean, episode 5.
But that's the thing. I almost knew from the second she showed up.
Right. but we knew, but even there was a kind of a soft reveal in 5 where she called up and said to somebody on the phone that you would still be in that jail if it wasn't for me. And then Batroc showed up with a case for the flag smashers. I say, oh, well, she just did that. That we know she didn't say who she was, but come on, that was her, putting herself into this situation. Okay. Yeah.
That was brokering power.
That was, yeah, exactly. She's a power broker. Boom. That's it. Okay. Yeah. It was like an off-camera reveal. It was just like, it was just
but it was not satisfying.
It's like somebody off to the side going, oh, she's a power broker. Like, huh? Right. Oh, that guess, shh. That's what that was. And so then when they said in episode 6, I don't need a power broker. It's like, yeah, we already know that. It's too done. It's too late.
Yeah, it's still just disappointing.
It's too late. So if they had somehow completely hidden it, it would have been better if they had somehow completely hidden it. Maybe even had somebody else, a puppet or something referred to that made us have to go back and look at the timeline to find out if it was even possible for her to be it. And then had a reveal at the end after she got her pardon or something. And then, oh crap, she, that would have been a better use of it.
And then Bucky's redemption, flat.
Not completely flat for me, but again, there was another one where you have to go, I guess there had to be more conversation that we didn't see.
Yeah. Well, so instead of the book showing up in an envelope with a note, I feel it would have been a better bookend to have him in therapy.
Right.
So that she could actually see and they could talk. And then his redemption with the old man, or lack of redemption, because honestly, that's what that was. He did the right thing, but he didn't receive any redemption for it.
Well, it was a certain amount of going back to the conversation with Sam. It's like, you need to not do it for your own sake, but do it for them, which was, this man needs to know what happened.
But to bookend it so that the conversation in the therapy room with her, him saying it in his own words and an interpretation would have,
or even not even saying it, but at least us acknowledge us having that. Some of the things can have been done in the montage. I understand that. I don't think we needed to have that conversation. I mean, we didn't need to see that conversation or hear it, but to know that conversation happened with the therapist.
But that's how they did the letter.
No, to know the conversation happened with the therapist would have been important. Whether or not we saw it, but to say, just do a pass by of him in the room and we can see the conversation is happening,
Right.
So that if not necessarily hearing it, you don't necessarily have to script it out. I understand.
Or him walking out of the room with a semi-content look on his face and her looking down at the book.
Right.
Just
yeah, it
just wasn't bookended correctly.
Having a handshake or something that there's a personal contact between him and the therapist,
which could have taken exactly the same amount of time as what we got.
Yeah.
So I don't like to criticize them too much because I really do.
Well, no, it's
really do enjoy all that they have to do.
I enjoyed the series. I thought, overall, there were some moments that were super high for me that I thought were really great. But let's not act like it was perfect. It's let's not.
I think this one had more flaws than WandaVision. And I don't want to have that be our measuring.
No, I think it had more flaws than WandaVision because they were trying to do something that's actually more grounded than WandaVision. And in doing so, it's like with special effects, when someone's making a big crazy looking CGI monster, you can nail that. It's not human. There's all sorts of stuff you can do with it, and we're like, that thing is freaking awesome. Okay, right. Now you try to turn that into a realized person and have them do it. It's like, no, our experience tells us all these little things about how that happens, and so it can be the same technology with the same refined detail, but the fact that there are these inhuman movements in a human
magical
form,
elements,
we will notice that certain things aren't human movements because they're not accurate enough, right? Because we've been looking at human movements for our entire lives. And so we'll notice, and we'll look for more
Well,
flaws.
and it's a part of our lizard brain.
Part
If
of
somebody
our
doesn't
lizard
move like human, get the fuck out of there.
Right. And so that's how it is, I think, when it comes to like WandaVision and Falcon and Winter Soldier. WandaVision had human stuff in it. You know, there was a lot of grief and all this kind of thing, but it was really spectacular in terms of being a spectacle. And so it was all a lot of stuff that was outside of actual common parlance for people. But we all grieve. We all have conflicts with people. We've all wronged other people. We've all wanted redemption for ourselves or others, this and that. And we all have a sense of like what would really work for us, or what gives us that sense. And so they were trying to do something in Falcon and Winter Soldier, which I think is a lot more grounded in humanity. And so where it's not accurate, we feel it a lot more.
And I also think that it just has to do with preferences. So, like especially when I was younger, there's this phenomena of movies ending with no real ending. They're open-ended, right? And as a young person, that hurt me. It wasn't even a matter of, oh, that sucks. It was like, oh my God, and I'll never know. Right. You know, that sort of thing. And there was actually like one movie I remember I felt an open ending coming. And it had an ending. And it was this palpable relief. Right. So then it's a matter of, I like to see redemption stories where somebody is redeemed.
Right.
That's my preference.
Right.
That feels good to me. I understand that it's a real life thing, and it's a story. I'm a storyteller. I could see myself telling a story with that type of redemption where there is no redemption, but the right thing was done. I get that, but it still hurts me personally. Right. It's also, just because it occurred to me, one of the things that occurs all the time, a trope that I despise, is people gaining a power, and then all this mayhem ensues, and they lose the power, and they're glad of it. No, fuck you. No. You had a superpower. Everybody's here because you had a superpower. That's what they're here to watch. You being happy you don't have a superpower at the end is not what we're here for. Right? I hate stuff like that, which is why I can tell you that one of my favorite stupid superhero movies is Zapped.
Zapped? I haven't thought about Zapped in I don't know how long.
But that's how much of an impact it made, because it was just like, oh no, it's going to be one of these. Oh, all these things are going wrong. Oh, he's making bad decisions. Oh God, he lost his power. And I was just like, ah. And then right at the end, I can't even remember what it was, but I know that he like used his power. That was the last scene, and the last second was him.
There was some eye thing or something.
And then something happened. Right. And I was like, yes, he has his powers still.
Right. Yeah.
Because
that's like the most Vegas thing. You bring
I'm so happy that I can't be destroyed by punches anymore. So happy that I can't fly anymore. So happy that I can't see through things. God, what a nightmare that was.
Yeah.
Do you know what a bladder looks like?
That's hilarious. So
let's create that character.
But
Jerry, let's create that character. It's an interview. So you recently had powers. Yeah.
I'm so glad I don't have.
What were those powers? Yeah, I could do this and I could do that and that. And what happened? Oh my God, a nightmare. Everything else. Oh, it was awful, and so on and so forth. So how do you feel? Like, I'm so grateful that I can't heal people anymore. Like, come on. It's so annoying to me.
That's hilarious. So
So there's
so
that.
we have,
So
okay, let's kind of let's
yeah,
go
how do
through
we do this?
character wise. Well, let's just look at the arcs of certain characters. Um, for example, let's say with uh Walker. Okay, so we got
Again,
U.S.
I didn't
agent.
like how that made
We
itself.
we got U.S. agent, right?
Yeah, but I
Um,
don't like how it happened. I
right.
don't like his reaction to it. I don't like that his wife was there. I don't like that it looked like a wholesome thing and we're back, baby. Fuck you with that. That was annoying to me. I actually hated that. So that wasn't even me saying like, "Oh, well, I might have made a different decision." No, that was some hack shit right there in my opinion.
I didn't have a problem with the wife being there. I didn't have a problem with the Julie Louis Dreyfus part of it. I did have a problem with uh, his kind of joyous reaction to it.
He said we're back.
Yeah, I didn't like that. I thought that was well, yeah. There was a juvenileness to it. There was just like
that's what I mean by hack.
Yeah.
There was, and I don't
but
even
not,
blame
but not so much juvenile in
so
terms of the writers, but just like he was juvenile. It was like he was like very almost childlike and unseasoned as a person, which was very not what he was beforehand.
Yeah.
He said yes, it was important to him and this and that. It was a big role for him, but it wasn't like like a rock star gig for him.
Right.
It was this was an important thing. So it would he would be happy about it, but he wouldn't be just like, I got my trading cards back. It wouldn't just be,
Right.
it's like I'm off, I'm not grounded anymore. It would,
Right.
Wouldn't be that.
Well, with me, yeah, but with me, it was even just the writing of it and just creating the situation of it. And it's not that I fault the writers. Honestly, in any of these things where I criticize, because these were extraordinary circumstances. I can't believe they pulled this off. They were asked to do lots of things. In
Yeah,
WandaVision,
and
it
rumor
was like,
was, I guess,
wow, how could you? Remember we teased about it, but like, oh yeah, and then you have to make so and so. And now we're gonna have Zemo in it.
Right.
Right in.
And I guess originally there's rumor that I guess there was a whole virus story or something that they had to change, because it was filming before COVID, and so like the whole idea was like there was a whole like the medicines or whatever, it was because this whole like super virus terrorist thing that was going on or something, and they had to rewrite a lot of stuff, and so they had to like change storyline stuff because like we can't do this, and so which makes a lot of stuff make sense. It doesn't really excuse it to a certain degree, because it's still history. We're not going to know context. We're just going to be watching the show. When you watch things later on, you're going to go, why does it it doesn't flow? How did they get from there to there? Why?
And also, and to be perfectly honest, like we're mentioning like these deadlines that they had, like these poor writers, they had to sum this up in a bow the best they could, man. They have 5 minutes to wrap this present, and they just got to make sure that it's going to be enjoyable to unwrap and with a nice bow on top, and it's not quite perfect and so on and so forth. That's false. Falcon and Winter Soldier didn't have to be released when it was.
Right.
We could still be in a timeline where it's not released yet, and that would have been fine.
Right.
Because they should have taken their time. So that's where I do hold some fault.
Oh yeah, you have
in the company decisions themselves.
Right.
But with the writers and what they were given and told to do, I can forgive quite a lot.
But yes, but should they be? It's like me with actors. It's like, oh no, he did a really good job. I think he was really good as Batman, but he shouldn't have been made to do the things he had to do. It's like, it's like, so say, yes, it's like the writers, they did a good job with what they did, but I'm sorry, they shouldn't have been told to do that.
Right.
They shouldn't have been told to do that. They should have been, they should have been given more time. They should,
So in my opinion, this is a case study in how we've always been, and I mean, we as a collective have always been slightly annoyed that we don't get to have Marvel movies every few months.
Right.
Man, we have to wait till 2000. What?
Right.
Fuck. but it was always worth the wait, man. It
Right,
was always
right.
worth the wait. And if they told me we have WandaVision, and then in 5 months we're gonna have Falcon and Winter Soldier,
Yeah, every quarter.
I'd have been, well, I'll watch some Doctor Who
I'll
until.
set my calendar and I'll be back. Don't worry about it. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
So I think there's a certain amount of well, and part of it is probably due to the schedule that Marvel, and I mostly I'll say Marvel. I'm assuming Disney, not necessarily Disney, that Marvel has given itself due to the movies, and then how that was disrupted by COVID.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like unlike say with the DC movies where they're not necessarily so connected, the Marvel stuff is really attached. It's really to its schedule in terms of this has to come out, then this has to come out, then this has to come out. And then we if this doesn't come out at a certain time, then we have to delay this coming out because these stories overlap and blah, 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 blah. So it's always possible that there are things that are going to happen in WandaVision that'll reflect on, say Black Widow, that will be that will be touched on, will reflect back to this or vice versa. So they felt they had to execute things. But again, that's because they put themselves in that situation.
In that time. Yeah.
That's it's like, I'm sorry, did we tell you had to do that? No, we did not.
No. We live in the time of plenty when it comes to entertainment, and we can wait and we will come back.
Right. And we will. We've done it.
Because we've done it 19 times so far. I don't know how many movies.
Yeah. So that's but also there's it's also, I think, a kind of a textbook study of the goodwill that they've built up, that and smart casting, well executed like screen chemistry, because most of the success of Falcon and Winter Soldier, there's certain bullet points that are say, okay, that was achieved, that was achieved, that was achieved. These things were achieved, so it's successful in terms of its story. Just because these things happened, he became Captain America. Winter Soldier is, they gained a friendship. All these little things, these things happen, so that makes it successful. But the thing that made it still enjoyable, even though there are groans happening constantly because of certain decisions that are being made on the screen, is the casting choices, the chemistry there. It's one of those things where it's like the cast elevated the show above its material.
Instead of the opposite of what you just said, like, he's okay, Batman, he should have been asked to do those things.
Yeah.
Right. This is the other thing. Like, they shouldn't have been asked to do some of the things, but because they're so good, they kind of pulled it off.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's similar. I've said it before when it comes to Justice League stuff, and I don't think you don't quite agree, but I was perfectly fine with. I enjoyed all the casting of the characters of Justice League. I know I was perfectly fine with it.
Well, initially I hated Ben Affleck.
Well, yeah, I hated the concept
Ben
of it,
Affleck.
But when they actually did the movie, I was like, he's good as Batman.
Yeah,
he's good as Cyborg. He's good as this. But they should not have been asked to do the things they did. Right. And the fact that they were good at it wasn't enough to make up for the things that he had to do.
Yeah. And so the first Justice League, I was like, oh, what a crappy Batman he is. But man, is he a good Bruce?
Right.
Right. That was my first thing. And then this other one of the things that that was a positive was that he was a better Batman, except for some of the things. This hope bullshit.
Well, see, but again, that's them making him do something. It's like,
but him as Batman in that movie made way more sense. He felt more like Batman.
I thought Ben Affleck executed what he was given really well. He shouldn't have been asked to do it.
Right.
It should have been. So he was given a disservice. He was
same with Gal Gadot.
Yeah.
Because come on, I can't believe some of the shit they had her say. It was just stupid.
Yeah, but she freaking owned it. She did a good job, but they weren't able to elevate it enough to me to go, excuse it, which is the opposite of what we're saying with Falcon and Winter Soldier, where there was I would say almost not the same level, but because there weren't as many points, but similarly poorly served story points, poorly executed story matters, poorly timed things. A lot of bad decisions were made story wise.
Outside of the actors.
But the actors themselves
were able to hold it and fill.
Yeah, it's kind of like,
that's the thing that actors can do. You've seen it happen.
Oh yeah, we're talking about it. You know what? I will watch him in anything, even if it's garbage, because he will make it worth it. It's like if you read a script for Star Wars, it's horrible, but man, Harrison Ford makes it work.
Yep,
he can make it work. Those guys together, that team of Star Wars actors elevated the material.
And I don't know why this is the case for me, and I've said it before, I'll say it again. One of the actors that I find this with, for me, is Tom Cruise. I don't know why. That man can make a fucking movie, and he is nuts, and I hate him as a person. I think, how dare you do these things that you're doing as a person? Like, I don't like the man. I'm sure I would like him personally if he doesn't start to hire people to stalk me or whatever, but
or somehow just like inhale your soul from a distance.
Yeah, hopefully he doesn't do that. But
I can't stop looking at that center tooth. God damn.
Yeah, that's actually an issue for me. Always has been. To be like, God damn, wow. And kind of technically thinking, that's kind of where a tooth should be. It's just, I don't know why. Oh yeah, that really messed me up, especially in like Top Gun and stuff, that era. But yeah, I have that with him for some reason. He can film. It's just nonsense.
Right.
Some of those movies are nonsense.
Right.
But I don't care.
Right.
It is the 007 effect. If you really look at 007 movies, they are awful. I mean, poorly written. Sometimes their special effects are so stupid, but you get a charismatic Englishman in there, a real good one, and all the best Bonds have been those types of actors.
Yeah, it works. It can work. Yeah. So so that's how my opinion is with Falcon and Winter Soldier. So it's like it's imperfect, but so the things I did like about it. Well, let's see. Go through the characters. So that was Walker. We already talked about Sharon's path. As the power broker. Let's see. Then there's the Flag Smashers. There's Carly.
I somehow knew I predicted she would die.
Oh yeah.
But my roommate said, "Oh, I hope not." But I said, "Yeah, that's just kind of a thing. It has to be a tragedy." She's the tragedy. You're watching a tragedy being written.
Right.
You know,
yeah. Well, I wasn't, at first I thought I was bothered by how her story went through. In second passing, I didn't mind it so much. It really had to go that way. They didn't, at first, my first viewing, I thought they kind of gave her too much of a heel turn in terms of like her being a little too dark. But I think
and then the other thing about that too, dude, is because I agree with that. Like she became, because so she's introduced as sort of an anti-hero, and then you see that someone near her is willing to give up their life for the cause, and then so that doesn't mean that it's a bad cause. Sometimes that means like, so that elevated the cause to me, and then all of a sudden she kills a bunch of people, and the guy in the car next to her is like uneasy about it, and so you can imagine that Carly's charismatic presence, leadership, whatever, could turn people, but they always made a point to show that every other Flag Smasher was really uncomfortable with this. But none of them turned away, like so uncomfortable with it that their faces were like,
yeah. And so, and
you know,
thinking about it,
I didn't like that.
There's when the decision was made to potentially kill the hostages.
Mhm.
right? You know, if we can't do this, I guess we'll just have to kill the hostages, right?
Mhm.
What?
Mhm.
I thought we were going to use them for a negotiation tactic, right? That's one of those things where I think I would have felt better about it um, if it wasn't so much of a active, conscious decision. If we can't get this, we're going to have to kill the hostages, as opposed to this is happening, and if this happens, the hostages are probably going to lose the hostages. Well, we can't do this. Like I don't know.
Right.
I don't know.
To have her struggle with it.
Right. To have her struggle with it.
Right.
And then,
but they tried to represent her as a
yeah.
bad guy.
Right.
And they never quite got there.
She didn't quite get there. So if her struggle was a little bit more, but it was, and because the struggle was there for the other guys.
Yeah.
There's a little more struggle for them.
And that was another thing too, is that I kept expecting a defector.
Right. And that would have been,
because I didn't recognize any of them. I got to be honest. You could have a lineup and I might be able to pull them out, but they were kind of non-facial. Do you know what I mean? They focused on them, but they were non-facial.
There were the core three that I remember.
But if one of them snuck out and there was this whole like, and he was like, I'm not here to fight. I'm not here to fight.
Right.
And I'm giving myself up. I can't do this anymore. Would have felt satisfactory.
Right. Or just
it to happen.
Or even when that bit happened where she said that they have to, we're gonna have to kill the hostages.
If one of the guys saved the hostages instead.
Or just when she's like one world and they didn't say one people, right? I think that was a very important moment there when she said one world, they didn't say one people.
Mm-hmm.
And so she said it again. And the one person hesitant said it, and the other, if one of them just said, I can't, and just took off, whether or not they get picked up later on or whatever, we can have that. But if there was a little bit of that too, of just
it would have made it more believable, because I couldn't believe that not one of them defected.
Right.
Yeah. So that's Carly.
Yeah.
Zemo.
I mean, I saw that coming. I saw,
but he's an interesting guy to see on film.
Yeah.
So I didn't really have any qualms.
Right.
It's like, it's okay. Yeah. Okay. That's good. There's.
So I initially had a problem with them, changing people. I initially had a problem with them killing off, Batroc.
Yeah.
But I don't think they killed him off. So that's my thing, is they shot him and he went down. They did not haul his body out.
No. Grant Ward was shot 4 times in the gut and somehow lived. So.
Yes.
There's an establishment.
Yeah. Well, even Agent 13.
Course of bleeding out. Bleeding out happens a lot slower in this universe.
Agent 13 had a gut shot.
Yeah.
And so my thought is not revealing him actually as being dead, leaves him open to come back as another costume person or somebody else when they do Thunderbolts, when they do like the Dark Avengers or whatever, with Madam Hydra, Zemo, US Agent, and some other dude that can kick the shit out of people for some reason. Who's that guy in that mask? Oh yeah, it's Batroc the Leaper. That's who's going to be, but we won't know because he'll be masked.
Right.
But initially I was like, come on, you can't kill off GSP. Come on. He is too good a guy to have come in as a physical threat to people.
Yeah.
And to have him go down but have him be shot and then have him, be a threat.
But I mean, in terms of a character though, I have very little interest in him.
Oh no, he's muscle. Yeah, he's good muscle. It's that's what my thing is. Like it's good to have somebody on screen that I think is kind of you can buy him as a threat. You can buy him as.
I mean, like literally every time somebody says his full character name, I picture his costume having a striped tail. That's what I picture. Right? I was like, what? So anyways, yeah. So okay.
What do you think him as Batroc the lemur?
Yeah, because they say the leaper, and
Yeah.
I just think of how they, because I've watched them, how they're leapers.
That's hilarious.
I also picture in the
It's
comic
because
books when you see him in action.
He jumps a lot. It's the savant.
I know, but that's kind of a weird thing. That's kind of weird thing to be. What's your thing? I jump, man. I fucking jump. Really? That's your thing? Dude, I'm the leaper. I fucking leap things, man.
Well, no, he doesn't leap things. He jumps up and he kicks you in the head.
Yes, but in depictions I've seen in comic books, just off panel, I see this little thing happening with his feet, like a ballerina would do. I just see it. So he's never been one of my favorite characters. I just picture him like with this little flare that's like.
No. The character in comics is just is nothing. He's never been of any threat whatsoever, as far as I'm concerned. Mm-hmm. But in terms of the physicality of the actor himself, I think he's a good guy to have. Yeah.
They don't seem to utilize him much as an actor, though. Can he hold his own? I've never seen him.
He's muscle.
So he would be a guy in a mask who says some things in French accent.
Yeah.
But not a leader or a person who's going to make any conflict or decisions.
No.
Got it.
No,
that's why he said stuff. I'm here to kill the Falcon.
Yeah. Well, and you can also get away with, him being not quite as good an actor if you have him say everything in French.
There's that.
Just because,
except for the French audiences out there who'd be like, what the fuck is this guy doing on screen?
But in terms of the emotionality and stuff, that is more viable, if we just translate it, because we're ignorant Americans. So
oh damn it, what's his name? He's one of my favorite character actors. He was in Beauty and the Beast television show. He's been in all kinds of stuff. He's big. He was Hellboy.
Yeah. I'm blanking on his name. I was Ron Perlman. It's
like Ron Perlman in that French film City of Lost Children.
Right.
That man can't speak French. That man's never been able to speak French, but it didn't matter because that character was a big dumb guy, and they literally made him talk in clipped sentences. Right? Yeah. He said like, "You food want?" I mean, it didn't matter. It didn't matter, and it was very effective. Yeah. It's one of my favorite roles he's ever been in. He's very gentle and giant, and it's like a gentle giant or something.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
So GSP, God,
his Twitter is everything for me.
Yeah, he's pretty good on Twitter. Then that's who else do we have? Then we have Winter Soldier we deal with, and Falcon.
Okay, well, I can tell you my favorite moment.
What's your favorite moment
in the entire series? Was them ending with the new title. I thought that was awesome.
That was really good. That was
fulfilling to me. That felt really good.
There was some subtle stuff that I really liked up to that point too. For example, Carl Lumley as Isaiah Bradley. That last exchange that they had when in the backyard. I think there was a lot. I thought that Carl Lumley was doing a whole lot with his face.
Mm-hmm.
There was just there's little things happening there. And there's some moments, that are just, I thought were brilliant. And
well, that's the Black Falcon. No, it isn't. That's Captain America.
That was hilarious.
I loved that.
That was okay. Let's be honest though. That's not good writing.
No.
But it's perfect timing and perfectly executed writing. But it's not
because it was nobody characters watching on TV, man. That's right. But that's how they talk. If you're engrossed in something, if you and I are engrossed in something, and I'd say, man, that's fucked up. And you'd be like, yeah, what can you do? I mean, that's what happens.
So right? that was
why did I go so negative there? I don't know.
But that was and actually when Robin was watching it with me, when that happened, she was all, because she knew she was like, but when Isaiah told Sam, they say, look, you are special. Martin, Malcolm, Mandela, and so then Sam has a little speech that he said. And then Isaiah looked at him And then he said, I almost bought that, right? Whatever he said. He's like, but there was so much happened in his face in that where you could see he actually almost bought that.
Mm-hmm.
There was this like, you know what? I believe this guy. This guy's going to be doing something. And then that part of him that's a cynic came in and said, no, I'm not letting that happen.
Yeah, not
and so
that,
then the smart
mechanism.
So then, so that protection, and you could, that's one of those things. It's like, man, when people can act, goddamn, they can act.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so all that kind of stuff happened on his face right there, and you saw him go. The cynic came out of him, and he's like, man, you give anybody a break, and everybody's like, nope, but it's like that was like super authentic. That exchange was just like, I was like, goddamn, it's like Carl Lumley, you were just, that was just brilliantly done. I thought that was really great. Then there's the time element of where I'm like, okay, so Sam goes with Bucky to meet Isaiah for the first time. Isaiah, he learns about what happens. He finds out
Why
that
did
there
nobody
was
tell me?
Right? Anybody tell me? Okay. Did he then go and say, "Yo, you guys need to make a statue of this dude"?
Then,
because
otherwise, that was a quick ass statue.
Did they 3D print the goddamn statue from? He takes some pictures and they just because it's like, no, that's I can understand printing the thing or whatever, but there was some time. This weeks happened. Because there's the whole montage of him exercising and all that kind of stuff, which I thought was a nice, like a guy taking his job seriously, action hero montage, which Falcon has never gotten before. It's like, hey, going to give him his workout montage, stepping up to the game. I like him throwing the shield and it going, being falling badly or almost taking his own head off and junk like that. That all was good.
Which is what I was craving for with the suit.
Yes. Give it a little bit of that. Yeah.
I would have loved him fucking up with the suit and having have those wings like climb out and start dragging him towards something that he doesn't want to be towards. You know what I mean?
Like Doc Ock's arms or something.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, how funny if they showed a little back. How about they showed that little scene in the back with a little. That's some fun.
I just picture him opening that thing up, and there's just like a card right in front that says like read. Put on. Okay, take these and put these on, and then Shuri pops up. She's all, okay, this is how you work this damn thing.
Right. I thought you'd never open it. We gave it to you 4 days ago.
Yeah, exactly.
I wish, just for nerdy reasons, it glowed a little bit.
Right. I was surprised someone hadn't done made a meme of it glowing. Yeah, I was really surprised.
Well, now you have your job cut out for you, Jerry.
Well, yeah. I mean, the reason I didn't do it is because I assumed someone would do it. It's like it's so obvious.
Right.
It's so obvious someone should do it. Yeah.
And the back shot that you were talking about, just somebody put a Band-Aid
on the back of it. Put the Band-Aid on the back of it. Too many cross references. That's hilarious. Yeah. But so what I did like also was I really enjoyed the musical choice at the end of the series when they're kind of doing the barbecue. They're kind of bringing it back to being regular people. And Bucky not being like Mr. I'm just staring off in the nothingness guy. He's like, okay, I'm embracing because remember, before he was Winter Soldier, he was the party guy. He was Steve's friend that was social. He wanted to go out. He wanted to hang out with women. He wanted to bring other people with him and enjoy life. That was him. Right. And it just, he lost that. And so to see it's like, oh yeah, he's taken some of the burden of Winter Soldier off of himself. Maybe he's going to be, maybe he's going to be White Wolf eventually, once he gets back in good graces of Wakanda.
Yeah.
They're like, maybe you don't want to show up in Wakanda for a little while. And he's like, I understand.
Just a little bit. we closed that door. We closed that door. You don't get that. That door
is not closed, but just,
No, but that door.
Yeah.
They just moved it like 4 meters over to so if you try to fly into it, you're fucked.
Just boom. Yeah, he's just gonna.
Yeah. We've moved the entrance by 10 meters. It's up to you. You have a 22% chance to make it into if you.
Well, no, there's the whole angle. It could be at any angle. It could just be 10 meters in any possible direction.
Man, that's crazy.
Yeah, but yeah. So and them, they didn't just say, "Hey, we're friends now." Right.
Right.
We're not. They didn't say it. They just like, oh, they have them acting around each other in kind of that physical distancing that you and I have.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, they're not just shoulder length guys anymore.
Mm-hmm.
They're physically comfortable with each other. It's not just, oh, we're not just mutual friends of somebody else anymore.
Right.
Right. And
right.
so, but they did it without saying, "This is my friend Bucky."
Right.
Let me introduce you to my friend.
There was a familial, family reunion style feeling to it, and having him being accepted all over.
Yeah.
You've seen that shorthand before.
Yeah. It's storytelling without just saying it. It's like, oh, look, they're showing us without having to tell us. Right. Just show us. And that's
just FYI, by the way, I'm fading.
Understood.
Yeah. It's happening fast too. I just wanted to let you know before my face started to really show it.
Yeah. And again, those of you who watch it over the next couple of days will have an understanding.
That was a foreshadowing.
Post-foreshadowing?
A post-foreshadowing.
Yeah.
A pre-post foreshadowing.
Yes. Something like that. Well, I think we can sum things up then. So, we have our positives and we have our negatives. Overall, I really enjoyed the series, but I'm not going to act like it didn't have I'd say I loved it, warts and all. But this witch had a lot of warts.
Same. Yep. Same. Same. And I thought that, the title characters came out stronger.
Right.
So I'm happy about that.
Yeah.
Right.
And I hope they're, if they are going forward with the Captain America 4, it'll be good to see what they do with it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But some of the threads that they left out there, with say Walker and the power broker, maybe the power broker will come into more importance in the Shang-Chi, because some of that stuff's going to happen in Madripoor as well. Who knows? Mm-hmm. But at the same time, if those threads get dropped, I won't complain.
Right.
Because I don't really care that much. I don't really care about. I mean, it's just too bad, because I wanted to care about what happened with Sharon.
Mm-hmm.
I
got to tell you that my takeaway from that is disappointment.
Yeah. Like I say, I wanted to care about what happened with Sharon, but I didn't.
Yeah.
And I don't. And that's.
I just feel why couldn't you just do that? She didn't have to be that character.
She didn't have to be that character.
You're sullying a name you shouldn't sully.
Yeah. And
that's what it felt like, right?
Yeah.
But she's a Carter.
Yeah.
Like, I understand that, future Skywalkers had made bad decisions, but I get it. It's not like, but I don't know.
Yeah. No,
Carter.
I'm with you. Yeah. I'm with you on that. So
she wasn't my favorite character in the movie or anything like that.
Oh no. I thought,
but it was just like, come on,
man. But there is like I said, there's kind of like a lineal, like a, expectation that you'd like to see this happen. And so it's disappointing on that. And then, but so in the end, it's like, if it doesn't go anywhere, it will not be a tragedy. Oh, I'm sure later on people will be like, the top 10 storylines that Marvel dropped in. Like, I don't care. You drop it. Drop it if you want to. I will not miss it.
I don't need to see whatever John Walker's name is now.
U.S. Agent. I think they can do stuff good with him, but I won't be disappointed if I don't. But I think they can.
And you know why? There's actually a specific reason why. One of the things that I've always enjoyed about Marvel and have disliked about DC is that Marvel knows how to come up with new, interesting characters. Sometimes they fail and they drop them, and sometimes another writer will pick them up and they'll be better. And DC has been known to do that. But Marvel's equation is, hey, let's try something new. And DC's equation is, hey, what else can we put after the word super?
Okay.
Right? Do you see, you know what I mean? And so one thing I don't like about Marvel's Captain America stuff is that there's too many of them.
In terms of now that there's
no, it just as it stands now in the comic universe, the Ultimate Universe, which is close to the MCU.
Yeah.
How many people do I need dressed in flag-ish type things that are super strong and are moral compasses?
Right.
And how many of them are dark versions of that? There's so many, man. There's too many.
Yeah.
I mean, Flag Smasher was one of them.
Right.
You know, it's so yeah. To me, it feels like you're making all right, let's make Superboy.
Right. Yeah. So I can get that. I'm just not sure. It all depends on where they decide to go with Walker. If they go with where he ended just now, like the last scene, I'm not interested in that guy.
Yeah.
I'm not interested in that guy.
Mm-hmm.
I think interesting things can be done with the character, especially if you're using a potential double, triple agent like, Valerie, like
Madam Hydra.
Interesting things can come of that. But as of right now, like I said, if it's a storyline that gets dropped, you will not hear any argument from me.
Yep.
You will not hear any argument from me.
No, and I love to see Julia, if I may just call you Julia.
Oh yeah.
In that role, but it was too comedic. I mean, I enjoyed that it was comedic because that's what I like to see her. I like to see her true scenery. Mm-hmm. She's someone I enjoy to see true scenery. It's fun, right? But to build an entire character about her chewing scenery just would be. It's the mistake they made with Kristen Wiig as Cheetah.
Yeah, for me, I think chewing scenery. Yeah, I think they didn't let her chew up enough scenery.
Really?
Because they just had her chew it wrong, but
they just put veneers on it.
You should be chewing over here.
Put veneers on and said, "Okay, do what you do." But I can't. There's veneers.
Yeah, exactly.
No, this will be hard to do.
I think, like I said, again, it depends on what story they decide to go with. I think Julia Louis-Dreyfus can execute that character well if the point is for us to not ever really know where we stand with this character and whether or not this person can be trusted, which is the whole idea. It can be well executed. But again,
see, now I don't know if that
I don't care. That's the problem I have with the series, is that there are too many things that if I never saw them again, I don't care about.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's the problem with the character of Madam Hydra, is that Madam Hydra is a later name, and once she's named that, man, even if it's a nickname, she's not ambiguous anymore.
Right.
She was ambiguous because she was a girlfriend of a superhero, and so that motion of that character was interesting once.
Yeah. I don't think they'll ever bring in the Madam Hydra thing.
Yeah, that's where they're gonna stick.
And I don't know if they'll ever bring in the Madam Hydra thing. Yeah, I don't know if they will. If they do, they will definitely have erased Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. because they already used Madam Hydra kind of stuff with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. But they can. I think there's potential of using her properly. But again, I think a drawback of this series is if they don't, I won't care.
Yep.
And I shouldn't be coming away with that idea. I should be coming away. But I am encouraged by how they executed Sam's character.
Yep.
And where they evolved. They did not. What's really important, I think it's really important with any story, is that when you look at the main characters, are they in the same place they were at the beginning of the series?
Mm-hmm.
Did they grow? Because if they haven't, then why did the series happen?
Right.
That's basically comes down to it. It's like if they
and that's why I said the title characters, I'm I'm satisfied.
Yeah,
I am
yeah,
satisfied. I think
yeah,
that was all good. Yep.
yeah. But like, yeah, let's not act like it didn't have a bunch of warts on it. So
Yeah.
with that, next week, we're going to put a couple small videos between now and next week. But we don't have anything new. I do think I want to talk about, there's a couple things I want to watch with you over the
Yeah,
next
but
few.
there's also I got to finish bitching and moaning about
Oh, we still got to do that.
after Superman comes back to life. I've got to tell
Yeah,
everybody
got to talk about that.
how fucking much I hated
then
it.
there's there's upcoming stuff. There's a Shang-Chi trailer which I loved. I thought was great.
And that's not a character I'm very familiar with at all. So
I think that's good because I'm not fond of the way the character's been like the last 5 or 10 years because they always sort of start giving people powers. It's like a new person comes on and they have to change a character. It's like, yeah, he was fine without powers. Don't give him powers.
Yeah.
But I thought that I'm looking forward to that a lot. There's some.
When's the Inhumans? Inhumans is far away.
Eternals.
Eternals is far away. So.
Yeah, Inhumans. We don't speak of Inhumans. That was a terrible series on
ABC.
Yeah. It was. That is like Marvel. That's like, what are you talking about? That didn't happen. If humans didn't exist, that show never happened.
Right.
Ooh, that was bad. Whew.
But they're not ever going to touch on those characters again.
I hope they do because they got to erase that. They got to erase that. Yeah, good people in it, but that was just poorly executed. So Eternals is a little ways away. I think that's come Christmas or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but yeah. So I mean, there was Godzilla versus Kong, which I enjoyed. I'm currently a little bit more than halfway through Mortal Kombat, which is
garbage. God, yeah, I have to do that.
Garbage. Such garbage.
I know, so, and I never even was very good at the
video garbage. Game. But what's really sucks about Mortal Kombat for me is like the first 5 or 6 minutes, it's really good. I was like, wow, okay, well they're gonna be doing something here. Okay, I like that. And then it's like, oh Lord, oh man,
remember it's already been done twice. I think you
just erased like the first 6 minutes of goodwill you had with me. It is done. But it's nice and bloody. And yeah, let's see, the Mythic Quest season 2 is about to start up, so we had to finish that one.
Yeah.
And they just had a special which was really good too. They had a 1 episode special.
Yeah. I have to admit, I mean, I guess here in public that I don't know where my head's at in terms of I'm now being forced to not be isolated anymore or really encouraged, and it's hard.
Right.
It's hard.
Right.
So it hurts to say, oh yeah, so we'll do this in the future, because I go, will we? I don't know if I can.
Well, we'll try.
And
I'm gonna encourage him as much as possible because we have like 3 weekends and then I'm off again.
Yeah.
For another case. But I want to thank all of our fans there for being patient.
And, thank you.
Especially through, I don't even know how long this recording was.
A lot.
I didn't put a timer on it, but through the ramblings of this, and hopefully we will endeavor to bring you something, on a more regular basis for at least the next few weeks, and maybe even preload something if we can, so that we don't have so much a gap between.
And I still keep thinking, and this happens a lot when we start to sign off, that I think about it, and then I go, oh, I should probably just hold off on that or whatever. But I really do think, like, there's so many weird things around me right now that it would be funny to have just like a little segment of me explaining some weird shit that I got around here.
It's true. And we'll just stick it in there.
Or even not even the weird shit, like those. I think we did show some of those heads.
Let's see. Move the camera that way a little bit, because I think it's going to be cut off by the frame of the thing. Yeah, there we go. There you go.
So my headless Buddha, my Pez, and some white puppet heads that I now know for a certainty will never be needed. So now it's been revealed to me that show will never happen.
Which show was that?
Paddington.
Oh, okay.
So I have boxes of perfectly selected fabrics.
Oh,
I have heads. And so I'm just going to put them into deep storage, and
can't repurpose them for
someday,
something?
hmm?
You don't have a repurpose them?
You know, it's almost like painting over something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that was a good start to that painting. Someday I'd like to finish that painting. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah.
All
But
right.
and I may just do it for shits and giggles. I don't know, because some of the characterizations from the designs that I got, it was challenging, and I was hoping it was going to be rewarding. It might have not have been, but you know, it was just one show. I've been the client told me he'd pay me anyway, but no, you know, he took a big hit,
Okay.
you know, and they're yeah, so
That sucks.
yeah, and that was all like done during some times in which I was working, you know, in between shows and stuff like that. So that wasn't, I didn't break my back, brother.
Okay, well, that's good.
Yeah. So anyways, yeah, I'd love to show some of the interesting things that I have around here. Like, why on earth do I now own 2 pairs of these? That's a legitimate business expense. This is a legitimate business expense.
What are you showing?
I could write this off.
Polka dot, pink galoshes.
Oh, yeah. Yellow and pink polka dot little rain boots. And they're too small, so I probably won't even be able to use them again after this project. Because I was hoping I was gonna, because it's a show I do often in a live as a children's show, and unless I cast a younger person than normal in the lead role, I just can't use it. No.
Right.
Whatever.
Alrighty, dude. Let's sum this up. Thanks, everybody. We're going to keep all that. I don't feel like editing this whole thing together. We're just going to use that part there. Yeah, so we're going to be back next weekend. And like I said, we already recorded a couple small things that you'll see later this week. So hopefully that'll make up for a little bit of our absence. But once again, thanks for the conversation being, especially the special conversation that we had that will be showing up on Tuesday. I think that was really important.
Yeah, me too. And it's hard. It's hard to think even now that conversation exists. Right. That there's that feeling too.
Right.
I want to be open and honest about the issues I'm going through, but vulnerability is a hard thing sometimes.
Yeah, I can see that.
So, but I'm used to it.
Okay. And so on that note, once again, thanks again, Bean. Thank you guys for
Thank you
hanging out with us, and we'll see you again soon.
All right. Bye.